Hello and welcome to UATV News in English. It is 2 p.m. here in Kyiv, Ukraine. I'm Oles Garduk, and here are the top stories this hour. The Trilateral Contact Group, which works to resolve the situation in Donbass, is currently meeting in Minsk. The Ukrainian side is represented by diplomat and presidential advisor Ruslan Demchenko. He took over the position after Leonid Kuchma, Ukraine's second president, left due to health reasons. The presidential commissioner Irina Herashchenko, who also represents Ukraine, reported that Kyiv will once again raise the issue of canceling the fake elections in the temporarily occupied territories, which are set to be held on November 11th.
This completely follows the repetition of the scenario of 2014, when, after so-called elections held in November, an escalation of the conflict was provoked. Moscow is the organizer of these elections, and it does not deny it. Ukraine and our partners in the Normandy format demand the Kremlin abandon the scenario.
The Russian Orthodox Church has declared a break in relations with the Ecumenical Patriarchate in Constantinople at the Kremlin's leadership request. This was stated by Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko during a meeting with church representatives here in Kyiv. According to Poroshenko, Russian church authorities are completely dependent on the Kremlin. Thus, according to the president, the Russian church has embarked on a path of self-isolation from the Orthodox world. Petro Poroshenko also thanked the Ecumenical Patriarchate for supporting Ukraine and for the decision on autocephaly of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church.
This reaction from the spiritual and secular Russian authorities and the church leadership, who are completely dependent on the authorities, only confirms that we are on the right path. Russia opposed itself to the whole world on the issue of Russian aggression in the east of Ukraine, on the issue of annexing Crimea, and in the same way the Russian church has now put itself on the path of self-isolation and conflict with global orthodoxy. We have returned from Constantinople, I hope with the good news, with a historic event in the lives of Ukrainian people, and I want to express to you the greeting of the Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew. This was a historic decision of Constantinople over Ukraine, where they once again confirmed their intention to provide autocephaly of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church.
More than 30 ethnic Hungarians went to the front lines of Donbass to defend Ukraine. Those who didn't speak Ukrainian learned the language in the trenches. In this piece, we take a look at some of their experiences and where they are now.
Gabor checks the fire truck before his shift starts.
When I take over the fire truck, I have to check out everything.
This is the only fire department in Berehove, Zakarpattia. Gabor has been working there for 2 years already. Before this, he fought in Donbass.
I got drafted and I went there. I love Ukraine.
Though born in Ukraine, Gabor's mother is Hungarian, and he grew up in a Hungarian-only speaking family. Gabor's colleague, Vyacheslav, is an ethnic Ukrainian. He was among the first 60 men from Zakarpattia region drafted during the first mobilization in 2014. He was shelled in Ilovaisk when his military convoy was shelled by pro-Russian militants.
I just never got a chance to hop inside, and a small frag grazed my hand. The ATO zone is the ATO zone. It is war. But you have a responsibility here as well. You save people.
Vyacheslav has been working with Gabor for half a year. They each know their tasks and there is no language barrier, despite the fact that their native languages are different. Another Hungarian managed to improve his Ukrainian skills while serving in the 58th Separate Motorized Brigade as a scout. His name is also Gabor.
It happens sometimes that I did not understand some words, said something wrong, but guys always explained to me and helped me learn.
More than 30 men were drafted from Berehove since the war started. Not all of them came back home. In the town's main square, just near the photos of those who were killed on Maidan in Kyiv, are the pictures of those who also died on the front lines.
These are guys who gave their lives for Ukraine. You see, Roland Popovich. It's a Ukrainian surname, but his mother is Hungarian. He grew up in a Hungarian-speaking family, just as Tomishuk Mikhail. His father is Ukrainian and his mother is Hungarian.
You can see Hungarian flags on many buildings in Berehove. Street signs are also in 2 languages. Walking through the streets, you can hear both languages.
Hungarians started to give more attention to themselves in Berehove, and Ukrainians were more preoccupied with themselves. That's how we got a generation who are around 30-35 years old, and they do not understand Ukrainian. This causes some discomfort.
Gabor is exactly 30 years old, but he did manage to learn Ukrainian, all the while serving for Ukraine.
Ukrainians and Hungarians have to be friends, since we live together.
Find a way into the past and live a day in Kievan Rus. One park has plunged Ukrainians into the era of princes and knights, great battles and authentic entertainments. Our correspondent has also seized the opportunity to see ancient Kiev as it was more than 1,000 years ago.
A medieval miracle just outside of modern-day Kiev. This Monday, guests of the Kievan Rus Park traveled through time, moving back to the 10th century. A skillful horseback rider, Grand Prince Sviatoslav, showed his dexterity to numerous spectators. Along with the boyars or nobles, craftsmen and peasants, he opened the gate to Kievan Rus, a proto-Ukrainian state founded in the year 882.
Kievan Rus was a successful state of that time. It was a young state, but in a short time it showed its military, political and economic power. Over several decades, it managed to reach an international level, and we already know that the Byzantium Empire paid tribute to the Kievan Rus. Therefore, in building our Ukraine, we turn to our state traditions.
In Rus, they didn't have passports and IDs, but clothing, according to the park's governor Alexei, introduced their owners in a matter of seconds. This woman, for instance, lived in the outskirts of Kiev. Aged 20 to 30, he had a husband and 3 sons. Passerby could reveal this with the help of temple rings, which would have been worn on the woman's head.
The uvrus is a head covering. The woman's hair is braided. This means that she's married. Next, the necklace. The necklace is pretty expensive. This is a copy of Venetian glass, and a woman from Podil, from the suburbs, could not wear this kind of jewelry. But if we assume that she is married to a glass blower, the noble's court could allow his wife to wear such jewelry.
And this is a noble woman who calls herself Vesna. She wears a red dress. At that time, red fabric was increasingly expensive, and only the wealthy could afford its price. The color was extracted from plants and worms. In fact, the image of a noble is a very responsible one. It is the resurrection of our traditions. It's great when you experience all this in such a magnificent project of reviving our history. It is quite important for the formation of the state. Tatiana has faith in this idea as well. Though she wears a traditional Mongolian costume, she revives the traditions of Kievan Rus. This time, the woman showed us her lovely horse and said that in ancient times, these animals were not only loyal companions, but friends. This horse is called Heavenly Argamak. In Kievan Rus, the name Argamak referred to the Akhtal-Teke horse breed. This horse was considered to be Prince Vladimir's favorite. These horses were not the only wonderful guests to enjoy. In ancient Kiev, they were also able to visit museums and expositions, compete in archery, and even mint a souvenir coin.
On this interesting note, we end the bulletin. If you want to know more information, visit our official website, uatv.ua. Also join us on social media. Just search for UATV English on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And I'll be back to this studio with the latest news at 4 o'clock Kiev time. I will see you then.